Three strangers in cheap suits rolled up to my driveway in a black SUV, diesel fumes choking the crisp Colorado autumn air. The woman leading the pack, Veronica Blackwood, shoved a stack of photocopied papers in my face and barked, "You have 48 hours to vacate this property or we're changing the locks." They claimed I owed $47,000 in HOA fines for violations I'd never committed. Her two sidekicks blocked my exit, clipboards in hand, plastic badges gleaming like they'd been pulled from a Halloween clearance bin. I'm Jake Mercer, retired Navy SEAL, 20 years in special operations. I've been quietly renovating my late Uncle Roy's modest ranch house in Pinewood Springs for 8 months. New deck boards, fresh paint, fixing a bathroom that looked like a crime scene. The place was mine, clear title, no mortgage, just peace after 2 decades of hunting bad guys in places most maps don't name. An IED in Afghanistan left me with a slight limp and a medical discharge, but my instincts stayed razor sharp. The seizure notice still smelled like fresh toner. Their badges were fake. Veronica's hands trembled when she tried to stare me down. They had picked the wrong house. What would you do if strangers showed up, try to steal your home with forged documents? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. I bet your neighborhood has its own horror stories. It started small. Veronica, a 52-year-old transplant from the Denver suburbs, had crowned herself the unofficial enforcer of community standards. She drove a white BMW. She parked like she owned the street, always in beige blazers, carrying a leather portfolio stuffed with homemade complaint forms. Week 1 of my renovations, I got my first violation notice. Fixing rotted deck boards was unauthorized construction. $500 fine, 72-hour compliance, or escalated action. The ink smelled cheap. Week 3, grass measured 2 inches, supposed maximum was 3 inches. Another $500. I checked with a ruler. She was inventing rules. By week 6, she declared my Ford F-150 a commercial vehicle banned in residential zones. It's just a pickup truck. Half of Colorado drives one. Every notice came on letterhead claiming authority from the Pinewood Springs Homeowners Association. Except there was no HOA. I checked the county records when I inherited the house. No covenants, no dues, no legitimate power. Veronica was running a scam. My elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chun, widow of a Korean War vet, bakes cookies that could broker world peace, pulled me aside one evening. "Jake," she whispered, "that woman's been terrorizing people for months. The Hendersons paid her $1,800 just to stop her complaining about their garden gnomes." Her hand shook. This wasn't annoyance. It was predation on vulnerable folks. The mailman Lou confirmed it. Never delivered a single real HOA document here in 12 years. If there was an association, I'd know. 3 days later, she came back with backup. Rick, soft around the middle, wrinkled button down, and Darren, lanky, twitchy, glued to his phone. They wore costume shop badges and carried clipboards like weapons. Veronica announced my property was under emergency management for persistent violations. Rick puffed up and demanded $5,000 as a compliance deposit, or they'd seize the place in 48 hours. I stayed calm, the way you do when the enemy starts talking too much. Which court issued the order? Silence. Which recorded covenants authorized this? More silence. Veronica snapped. "Don't question legitimate authority." I pulled out my phone. "Mind if I record this?" Colorado's a one-party consent state. Darren nearly tripped backing up. Rick's clipboard rattled. Veronica doubled down, but the bluff was crumbling. After they left, I photographed plates, ran registrations. Rick worked at the local copy center, explaining the toner smell on every document. Lou added that Rick had been using the machines after hours, paying cash. Mrs. Chun said Veronica had collected cash straight into her purse from multiple neighbors. No receipts. Then came the big escalation. A patrol car pulled up, fresh paint, crooked light bar. Out stepped Rick in a polyester deputy costume, badge crooked, brown loafers instead of duty boots. Veronica waved another toner-fresh court order, demanding I vacate in 24 hours or face arrest. I asked for badge number and ID. Rick paled. I offered to call the real sheriff's department to verify. They fled. Veronica tried a public community standards hearing at the library. 15 confused residents showed up. She ranted about my lawn, truck, and unauthorized construction, threatening property values. I stood. Can you show us the recorded covenants? She flushed. They don't require. I cut in. Colorado law requires HOA rules be recorded with deeds. County clerk confirmed none exist here. The room exploded. Neighbors stood up. She made us pay $1,800 for gnomes. $1, $500 for a mailbox color. $2, $300 for mailbox violations. Veronica called in fake Deputy Rick again. I smiled. I already called the real sheriff. Deputy Martinez is on his way. Rick bolted, badge jingling. She filed a restraining order claiming I threatened her with military violence. In court, Judge Coleman listened to my recording of the library meltdown, then forwarded it to the DA. Request denied. While that played out, her new goons tried casing my house when I was gone. Uncle Roy's old security cameras caught everything. High-def video and audio of them discussing planted violations. That was criminal conspiracy. Digging deeper at the county records office revealed the real scheme. Veronica, under her maiden name Steele, ran Pinewood Property Solutions. She'd filed 23 fraudulent liens claiming unpaid HOA fees, penalties, legal costs, $5,000 to $15,000 each. The liens clouded titles, forcing owners into distressed sales. Her company bought 3 properties at pennies on the dollar. One $260,000 home for $28,000. A corrupt title company insider rubber-stamped the documents. The fake HOA was covered for a multi-state real estate fraud ring. I called in favors. Sarah Mitchell, ex-Navy Intel, now FBI Financial Crimes. Tom Rodriguez, Marine vet turned Denver Post journalist. My real estate lawyer buddy Mike, and local Deputy Martinez. Neighbors turned Mrs. Chin's living room into a command center. Timelines, testimonies, receipts, photos. Lou mapped her targets. Elderly first, then newcomers. Tom uncovered her prior scams in Arizona and New Mexico. Veronica panicked. Vandalism hit neighbors who spoke up. Mailboxes spray-painted snitch, tires slashed, gnomes smashed. She tried bribing Deputy Martinez, $10,000 to lose paperwork, recorded. She offered me $10,000 cash on my porch to drop complaints, also recorded. Then came the smear. Fake social media profiles accusing me of PTSD-fueled violence, doctored photos, fabricated quotes. The post used classified military details no civilian should know, triggering federal cybercrime charges. FBI traced accounts to her network. Tom's story went viral, drawing victims from 3 states. Arrest warrants issued. Veronica called a desperate public safety forum at the community center, 200 people, media, officials. She ran a slideshow demonizing me. I stood, spread evidence across her table. Liens, bank records, corporate filings, transfers. Sarah Mitchell, flash credentials. Agents moved in. Handcuffs clicked on Veronica, Rick, and the title insider on mail fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, bribery, racketeering. The room erupted in applause that lasted 5 minutes. 6 months later, Veronica pleaded guilty to 17 felonies, 4 years federal prison plus 6 months extra for perjury. Accomplices got 18 months to 3 years. Assets seized: BMW, condo, jewelry. Over $340,000 returned to victims with interest. The Millers got their house back. The Hendersons threw a legendary gnome liberation party. Mrs. Chin's coffee gatherings became the Pinewood Springs Neighborhood Defense Network. Lou's mail route turned into an encrypted check-in system for seniors. Recovered funds seeded a community defense fund for free legal help and an annual Unity Festival. Deputy Martinez got promoted and now trains departments statewide on fraud detection. The Blackwood Act tightened lien verification rules. Tom series earned Pulitzer buzz and sparked national reform. On quiet mornings, I sit on my finished porch, coffee in hand, watching the Rockies glow at sunrise. Children play again. Neighbors help neighbors. And when another veteran calls about their own Veronica, I pick up because some battles never really end. They just move to the next backyard. Drop your worst HOA or neighborhood bully story in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell. Next week, we dive into how a retired teacher took down a fake charity that stole $200,000 from hurricane victims. More justice, more chaos, more comebacks. See you in the next one.